Hey everyone. Please support what I do to help keep Greyhawk alive by subscribing to the channel. Also, please consider becoming a channel member to get early access to videos, exclusive live chats, quarterly adventure modules, and more. Thanks, and enjoy the show.
So it seems that there has been something hiding in the Temple of Elemental Evil all this time, and I wanted to go through it today on Greyhawk Broadway. It's well known that Gygax's original plan for the Temple of Elemental Evil was to involve the Elder Elemental God, the EEG. And when it got handed over to Frank Messer, that kind of got lost in the transition, and it went in a little bit of a different direction. So that connection was lost. However, I think that there's still something in there that points to that original connection, and this is something you could actually use as a bridge between Temple of Elemental Evil and the later Giants / Drow series, because again, there is also a connection between the Drow and the Elder Elemental God, which I've talked about here on the channel before, because obviously the Ileserv's family is servants of the Elder Elemental God instead of Lolth, so that drives the conflict there. If you can create a connection between that and the temple, you can turn this into something really spectacular and huge. So, um, first thing I want to do is go through Temple of Elemental Evil in room 352, the East Hall. This is part of the interdicted prison of Zuckmoy, so she can't get out, and this is part of her lair where she is actually to be found. But this is the description here, and then I'm going to read you something else, and hopefully it'll ring a bell. Um, the floor here is serpentine and porphyry. Serpentine is a green stone. Porphyry is kind of a reddish purple stone. The walls are of black marble veined with green and purple. Again, runes of glowing gray and inky black mark the walls, with glyphs that seem to run and shift into other forms when not viewed directly. Um, Yada 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 yada. Then there are three large pedestals stand 20 feet to the west. Each is 12 feet tall and about 30 inches in diameter, topped with a metal skull. Each likewise bears strange signs and sigils. The south is electrum, the center gold, the northern one is platinum. Um, there is also a dais and a top. Where is it here? Um, a huge dais of translucent alabaster commands the west end of the place. Okay, so that's the description of that of the East Hall. Now let me read you another piece of Greyhawk. This is the Temple of the Eye in G3, um, Hall of the Fire Giant Chief. So this is the temple. Um, and it's split into two areas, right? There's a servants and thralls worship area, and then there's the giants worship area. I'm going to go through the servants and thralls area first. The polished floor of red and black hornblende seems to flow between the obsidian black pillars, which close off the area. Um, then we have the giants worship area, which has these large pillars. Um, Distance and dimensions are tricky to determine in the shifting light of rusty purple motes and lavender rays. Globs of mauve and violet seem to seep and slide around. Um, uh, the floor on this side of the column in the center is of porphyry, again, porphyry, that reddish stone, and with pillars of serpentine. So we have that same porphyry and serpentine juxtaposed against each other with obsidian black. Um, and as you get closer to the end of the room, um, where is it here? Um, the first tier of the area is of black stone shot through with veins of violet. The second tier is of dark gray stone with specks of lilac and orange and purple. The third tier is dull black stone with whorls of plum and lavender and splashes of red. Um, and then there's the altar on there, which is a big lump of porous looking black rock that looks rusty. But if it's touched, then it turns translucent. Depending on different things, it'll turn to different translucent colors. But it's the translucence that's the uh, what's important. There are also pillars up on those daises. The large pillar to the east on the first tier is of malachite, which is green and black, and is covered with graven sigils and signs. The other one is yeah. Okay, so that's what we got. So we got mauves and purples and greens and blacks and reds all throughout here, and there's always this theme of pillars in the giants temple. It separates the thralls from the rest of the temple, and in Temple of Elemental Evil, it kind of breaks up the room halfway through. So now watch this. So here we have the two side by side. I've rotated the East Hall from Temple of Elemental Evil 90 degrees so that they kind of align. But this will give you the idea of what's going on. The Giant's Temple is on the left. Lolth's prison is on the right, and you can see we've got that same pattern that that works for these things. We've got steps going down into an area of red and green, uh, offset with black. There's purples, all going up to a semicircular dais in the Temple of Elemental Evil. It's alabaster-like, and it does not, in fact, have an altar atop it. Uh, in the Fire Giants, it's different shades of purple and red and green, and there is that black altar atop it that's shot through with rusty red. So this is what we're talking about, and this is what I think is going on. The East Hall in Lulz, in Zuchtmoy's interdicted prison is in fact the Temple of the Eye that the whole Temple of Elemental Evil was built around. What they have done with the altar, I don't know. It's possible it was just destroyed. It's possible it was broken up into other things. For a while, I thought the elemental power gems were a good possibility, that they had taken the altar of the elder elemental god and turned it into the power gems. It's still a possibility, but we don't know that. But I think the architecture and the imagery and the color schemes and the iconography of the two are very close in terms of establishing a connection that this was in fact the former Temple of the Eye that they built the Temple of Elemental Evil around. So that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Obviously, it doesn't mean anything, but it can be used if you want to establish that connection between Temple of Elemental Evil and the Giants and then the Drow series. I did do a T4 module which establishes a Temple of the Eye lower down beneath the temple. But with this theory, you don't really need that. You could combine the two if you wanted to. It would be interesting to see where what happened to the altar is a great thing that you could throw in there as a puzzle for the players, and come up with something inventive. Maybe the worshippers of the elder elemental god want to revisit the ruins years later and want to reestablish it as a Temple of the Eye, and they create a new altar. They bring an altar somewhere. One of the background pieces that Gygax did in the Orth Journal actually stated that the altars of the Eye were pieces of the actual elder elemental god, his body that had gotten thrown to the earth. So that's another possibility. It's like what happened if it really is a piece of the god? What happened to it? Because that could be very significant, obviously, to the cult. So there's all kinds of things you can do with this. But I thought it was a really nifty correspondence that you see those colors and those exact words used in both. Serpentine and porphyry are not exactly commonplace colors that you're going to just write off as coincidence. The fact that those specific words were used, I think, is very significant. So anyway, that's what I got on this. I thought it was a neat thing. Hope you like this one. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will talk to y'all later.
Thanks for watching today's video. Please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Below you'll find links to my Patreon, which helps make these videos possible. You'll also find the web store where you can buy my books, and my blog where you'll find all sorts of free downloads and other articles. Thanks, and have a great day.